Greece needs to go to the brink before the people will accept austerity. That's the opinion of Reuters Breakingviews editor Hugo Dixon. He joins me now to discuss what the upcoming elections mean for the Greek people and the country's chances of continued Eurozone support. You just got back, Hugo, from Athens.
Yeah, got back
I guess this is the point here. A victory for Tsipras, the leader of the left, may be their best chance of staying in the euro because it's going to bring things to a head rapidly. That's the point here.
Yeah, that's the sort of slightly contrarian point. I mean, it's the simple view is, of course, Tsipras, he wants to tear up the memorandum, it would be a disaster. Samaras, the leader of the Conservative Party, wants to work with the Europeans, and therefore that should be good. And the latest opinion polls, as you've seen, put Samaras, the Conservatives, slightly ahead of the Syriza, Tsipras's radical left party. But that's not the way I completely see things, having spent a few days in Athens.
You know, it's interesting because the other sentence I note here, and this is crucial, the electorate doesn't yet see the choice as that stark, i.e. Tsipras, we get out of the euro, Samaras, we stay in. And I a couple of weeks ago, I spent a day with a young politician in New Democracy, and her main point was the choices have not been communicated well enough, either by New Democracy, PASOK, or indeed Tsipras's Syriza party.
That's right, and that's because because they don't really. I mean, Tsipras doesn't really believe that there is this stark choice, because he thinks that he can go head to head with the Europeans, and the Europeans will back down, that they will blink first. He talked in that Channel 4 interview last week about mutually assured destruction. We've both got nuclear weapons. So he doesn't want to present it that way. Samaras is trying to present it that way, but he's also trying to hedge his bets a little bit and saying, well, we can modify the memorandum, this bailout plan as well. Yep. And so you've got this situation where still it's about 3/4 of the population want to stay in the euro, but 2/3 of the population don't want the austerity come reform plan. And so you've got that still hasn't come to a head. And what I'm saying is, I mean, it's a terrible thing to say, really, but I'm saying that they have to go right to the brink. Right to the brink means actually turning off the cash.
And of course, so okay, let's consider June 18th. If we don't get something as conclusive, or something conclusive, then how long can Greece last, though, before another election is called?
Well, I think it depends who wins that, who comes first in that election. I mean, okay, first step back. Neither party is going to win the election in the sense of having an overall majority. They will either have to govern in a coalition, or they'll have to have a minority government. So that's the first thing. If New Democracy, the Conservatives, if they come first, they will probably be able to patch something up. I'm sure they'll patch something up with the Europeans. Everyone will breathe a sigh of relief. But it will be a weak government. It won't be able to really push through reforms. It won't be able to generate confidence from investors that it's actually going to be able to do it. The Europeans, the rest of the Eurozone, won't give it a really good push, because they'll still be hedging their bets. And the economy is in nosedive. And that's the other thing. These 2 months of electioneering and the next few weeks that we've got, I meeen, things have totally ground to a halt. And so what would happen then is that probably in the autumn or towards the end of the year, this minority New Democracy government would collapse, at which point then Tsipras would come in with a roaring majority, and then you'd have curtains.
What was it when I imagine you came to this conclusion when you were in while you were in Athens? What was it that what was the catalyst for this realization suddenly that this is the only way to go?
Well, I just talk. I mean, I would say it wasn't. It was. I just talked to lots and lots of people from right across. Politicians from right across the spectrum, and economists, and other observers and whatever. And the other thing, I just want to give you the other part of the story, because because the other part of the story is what happens if Tsipras comes in, and this is why actually I think, because if he is the lead party again, he won't have an overall majority. And so this is actually why it is could be a positive thing, because he would bring things to a head. the taps would be turned off, and then his government would collapse. And it wouldn't be October, December. It would collapse within a few weeks. And then you might be able to get a real, genuine national unity government. I mean, this is, I must say, maybe I'm slightly clutching at straws, but I do, and I admit that this is not a scenario that one can bet on.
No.
But I do think that this is the least bad scenario that I could come up with.
And what are and just finally, the people you talk to, the people in the squares, the politicians, the economists, do they also think this is something the country could bear with a better result, conclusion in mind?
Well, there are quite a lot of people who are talking, quite a lot of the sensible voices are pushing for a realignment of the political system. The two old traditional parties, New Democracy and PASOK, that have run the country for 30, 40 years since the end of the military dictatorship, they are totally discredited. But they are the centralist parties. What you've got is these extremist parties have come out. What they now need to do is somehow create some sort of new centre ground party. And there's a lot of talk about Papadimos, who was the technocrat, actually forming his own party. There are quite a lot of other people who are saying, well, let's take the old PASOK, the sort of dregs of PASOK, and somehow reconstruct it into more of a sort of social democratic party. And they haven't managed to do it for this second election that we're coming up, but there is a feeling that there may be a big push after June the 17th to create some new sensible centre ground party. And that could also be part of, the mix.
All right.
Fingers crossed.
We will wait and see. And of course, we'll talk about it again. Hugo, thanks a lot. If you want to watch our US Breaking Views show, comes on every day, 12:30 Eastern, 17:30 BST. I'm Axel Threlfall. This is Reuters.